My wife keeps denying having an affair, but I finally found proof, and this is what happened. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube with notifications turned on. So today I wake up like any normal Sunday around 11 in the morning and head to the bathroom to pee. My wife is doing her hair because she had some nail decorating thing with my side of the family today while I watched some football alone. So I was excited. Well, as I'm peeing, her phone goes off and it was sitting on top of the toilet. So I see it's a snap from Snapchat. She picks up the phone real quick and drug the status bar down. Then right back up without looking at the snap. Then hit the power button to turn the phone off. This is on an HTC One M8. Red flag number 1. Reason being, she always just looks at the snaps around me because we know everyone we talk to. We don't hide anything from each other, so I thought. So she eventually leaves to go to the family thing, doing nails and all, whatever. I sit down on my computer to play some poker while I am watching the games, and wouldn't you know it, an ad for Snapchat pops up on my browser. It immediately makes me think of what happened this morning, which I had already forgotten about because I simply let things go very easily. And I probably would have with this as well. However, dun dun dun, I never snoop. Ever. I am one who trusts you 100% until you do something to make me feel otherwise. However, I had a really bad pit in my stomach and felt this 100% was in jeopardy and decided to log into her Snapchat. Her password was fairly simple to figure out, so I am in. The first thing I see is an unopened chat message from some person that I have never seen before. I open it up and it says, "I want you very badly." So now, immediately, I'm like, WTF. Now keep in mind, I am a very mild-tempered person, and I do not get mad very easily. However, I am about to flip at this point. However, I get logged out. I guess she logged back in, and you can only be logged in on one phone at a time. I then logged back in, and she said something that I didn't screenshot, saying something logged her out, and she didn't see what he said. He then said this. I must have missed something she said in between as well. You know, since it deletes everything you say after you close it. Had 2 snaps recently, just asking how it was, and I miss you. Now I'm like, who the F? Later on, I found out it's a coworker that is also her boss, while her real boss isn't in the office. So now I am sitting there thinking, I want to hear something more convincing. So I simply respond as her saying, "Oh yeah? Well, what do you miss the most?" Hoping this would squash what I thought was happening in my head. Nope. This is what he said. "About you, I miss your smile, the conversation in person. We can laugh about anything. And doing the deed with you is amazing." I immediately just lose feeling in my body. I sit in my chair, basically just blank stare, thinking of my life in ruins. We were just talking about trying to start having our first kid. We have been married for 3 years now. We have 2 houses. One we live in and one that we rent. We make good money. We do the deed frequently. She has shown no signs of dissatisfaction at home. Why would she do something like this? I honestly just didn't know what to do, so I went on just to say busted out of impulse. Well, I then just got out because I had seen enough. However, about 5 minutes later, I was curious to if he had said anything. Well, I logged back in because she logged me back out again and his message was gone. Assuming she now knows that I know, I reopen his text box and I see this. Hence, says yesterday at the top. I have no clue how or why this came up. I do feel I can be completely honest with you whenever you ask me anything. Such a good thing we have. Great friendship and great carnal experiences. What else could you ask for? I about wanted to cry. And in fact, I did. She is away at a family function and I am sitting at home for hours with nothing to do but ponder what I am going to do when she gets home. I have a really close friend that I feel I could talk to about anything with and ended up just doing that. I showed her everything I saw and told her about it all. I then started thinking about all those times she stayed longer for happy hour and and then for work functions, etc. FML. Well, she finally gets home and I immediately say, "Can I see your phone?" She hands it to me like nothing is up and is like, "Hi, you too." I then go to her messages to see if maybe she was dumb enough to leave something in there. Oh look, a cleaned up inbox. She never deletes anything on her phone ever. By the way, I did continue an actual conversation with him via Snapchat, and basically you can tell he found out it wasn't her and started trying to cover his tracks because he is also married and has 2 kids and they just bought a new house. He was saying haha and lol to everything at this point, acting like it was all a joke, which I will get to. So I then open up her Snapchat and pull up his text box, and the text I showed you with what she said is still there. She reads it and is like, "I don't know why that is there, and why are you going through my phone? Is that why it kept logging me out of Snapchat?" I said, "Yes, it is. Can you explain this?" She then reads it again and says, "You can assume what you want, but I sent another one after that saying, 'Great adult jokes,' because she forgot the word jokes." This was her excuse for the whole thing, is that it's something they joke about all the time at work and their whole department does it. I'm like, okay, if that's the case, then can you explain these? I then show her the first 3 snaps from earlier. She just kept reading them over and over without saying a word, as well as some that I didn't show of me continuing the conversation with him, which is irrelevant. But she didn't know what to say, so she just kept reading, I guess waiting for me to say something. To me, she was just admitting guilt because she didn't know what to say immediately and was caught. The last thing I want is this. She swears up and down that she never even thought of cheating on me and that this really was a joke. I have no physical proof, but what you see is pretty hard not to believe. Plus, the kicker being it's on Snapchat, which is designed to erase everything you say or send once you close it. I don't really use the app too much, but I know how it works. We had it out for another good 3 hours, and it was just an argument going in circles after the first half hour. She kept trying to bring up stupid crap to change the subject here and there, and I would derail her and put her back on the subject, and it would just become silent. She just didn't know what to say. She started saying, "You want me to delete him? You want me to get a new job?" Stuff along those lines, and honestly to me that is admitting guilt even more. I seriously just don't know what to do, and I am hating my life right now. I am so full of adrenaline that there is no way I'm sleeping tonight, so I guess I'm calling out of work in the morning. I would have rather just seen what I did in the bathroom, because if she is really telling the truth, I think it is past the point where I can ever really believe her. It will always just be in the back of my head while doing the deed with her or just in general. My question for everyone is, do you think I should go to his wife and ask her about how she feels about this? Would that be morally wrong of me? Also, I failed to mention that her mom works in the same department as her. Should I bring this up to her and see if she is telling the truth about them joking all the time about this sort of thing? The only thing is, it could really risk another marriage and jobs if I take this route. So here's the first update. This is the continuing conversation I had with him, trying to get more information out of him, but obviously he picks up on it and starts changing his attitude and the way that he says things. Keep in mind, the first 3 things you saw from him, I had asked again what he missed about me. This was his response. "Conversations. Coworkers can be so dumb. Confused why you're asking me the same stuff over. Everything cool?" I then asked what you see below, and this was his response. Now keep in mind, looking at when I took the screenshot, it is dated 4:55. He said the carnal pleasure with her is amazing at 3:59. "Doing the deed. WTF. Amanda, is this even you? I'm confused." I didn't respond. Then he goes on to say, "You and I know this isn't a relationship like that. Maybe it was a snap, but frisky situations is one of my top 5 funny office things. Funny to think of coworkers in awkward situations." And then at this point, I had to keep logging in to make sure she wasn't seeing any of this, but I knew he had already talked to her via text, which, oh yeah, she deleted if you remember her cleaning up her inbox. However, this time, she just stopped logging in to kick me out, so I just kept the window open, and this was our last conversation. It was basically him just saying he wouldn't want to ruin their friendship, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, you could see the change in demeanor and how he starts completely denying it to cover his butt, knowing what's at stake. For those of you mentioning that I should lawyer up, please explain why. I right now feel that even if she does admit to this, or that I find out some other way, that our divorce would not be a sour one. As much as she would be a bad person for doing what she did, I truly feel in my heart that she wouldn't do anything to make matters worse. If there is a reason to lawyer up, besides the fact that you think it will be a nasty divorce, then let me know why that is. But here is the next update, which is the next day at 11:40 a.m. We had another conversation this morning, and the short version is, I don't believe her. She still denies that she is cheating on me and that the texts were sent in responses to other texts that I didn't see. She also claims that hers were supposed to be dirty jokes, but his were just him being funny about being dirty. I am so tired, yet my body refuses to bat an eye. I am morally crushed. I told her if she went to work this morning, I would be gone when she gets back. She called out right after. I'm not sure how she thought she could even go to work today in the first place. I told her what reason should I believe anything she is saying. She repeats back that there are no reasons. I just kept saying, exactly. The part that is genuinely throwing me off is that she isn't giving up. She would just stand there instead of walking away like she has in the past when caught in a lie. She is also looking me right in the eyes when saying everything. It is so hard not to believe her, but I also don't want to believe that she would be that good at lying straight to my face. I didn't think that she had it in her, but with this evidence, I just can't get over it. After everything she said, I simply pulled up the photos and said, everything you said still doesn't change this. She just kept saying, I don't know what you want me to say or to do. I just kept telling her to figure it out because I don't believe you. That is pretty much how the whole conversation went. FML. The next update is later on that day at 12:36 p.m. As you know, she called out of work. Well, I went to get her phone to try and revive the deleted text messages and possibly find the pictures that were deleted from Snapchat via the phone's directories. Well, she handed over the phone, but when I left the room with it, saying I am not going to send anything, she didn't say anything at first. Then about 30 seconds go by and she comes down the stairs saying, I need my phone. I say, but I'm not done with it. She says, well, I need it. I said, use the house phone. She said, no. I took the phone and started to walk upstairs. I said, I want a divorce if you don't give me the phone. She said, F you. Good game. Next update at 1:23 p.m. Well, everyone, this will be my final update of the day as I am packing up my stuff and heading to my mom's for a couple of days. We just had it out for another 10 minutes about how can she expect me to believe anything she says if she won't even let me check her phone. She simply said, I guess you can't. About as close to a full confession I will get, it seems. I am going to talk to my mom and see if the lawyer she is using for her current divorce, the irony, is someone I would want to deal with. 4 p.m. update. I went for a drive the last hour and a half, more so sitting in a parking lot trying to close my eyes and forget the world. It didn't work. This has been so overwhelming. This pain is something I wish on no one. Hopefully if you are reading this and have been through something similar or going through it now as well, that everything works out. Right now it looks like me and my wife are done as she drew the last straw with not allowing me to see her phone. It was something simple to maybe help me see why they were talking the way that they were, but it looks like it would have ended up being more proof. That night at 1:37 a.m., the update is she basically stayed in our room all day and just came down to talk. She openly told me everything that she knew. She said that they have been emotionally having a relationship for a couple of months now. It all started at work when they just started mutually agreeing on things, and then a dirty joke was told by a coworker, which opened them up to talking about more dirty things. They would compare their marriages and the problems they have, which obviously would bring them closer. The reason she wouldn't show me her phone is because there were text messages of them saying to each other that they want to do the deed with each other. I really can't believe everything she is saying. It is just the kicker that they both send those two snaps basically saying that they already did the deed. I really am so torn because even if there wasn't a physical relationship there, the emotional level was there, and apparently she said if they weren't married, they would have already done it. She also tells me that she was ready to break it off knowing it was going too far. I find this very hard to believe, but she seemed to be telling the truth. I really don't know what else to say right now, but FML. So he ends up looking at the phone bill to get the guy's phone number. He writes him everything that he knows, and they write back and forth, where basically it all just becomes a game of deflecting and saying that it wasn't serious and he didn't think it was a big deal. But when pressed specifically about those two Snapchats, one of the ones being where he said, I want you badly, he said that, to be completely honest, he doesn't even remember snapping, but obviously it was sent. He said it was 100% out of character and the first of its kind. He was sloshed. Not an excuse, it's just a fact. I don't even remember the emotion when I wrote it because I don't remember writing it. So to be honest, I don't think it would have led to a single thing. That was harmless. And for your information, Amanda never once wrote a snap ever to that effect to me, if it puts your mind at ease. He said he thought it was harmless, but he realizes now that it's the furthest thing from it, that it was very selfish, and that he was wrong for doing it. So the OP responded by saying, okay, thank you. Now tell your wife. She deserves to know. I then messaged my wife on Facebook and basically had a long conversation about the depths of all of this, as if I believed everything he said, because honestly, the way he said everything and from what I already know of the guy, it sounds legit as much as I don't want to believe it. We basically started our counseling, and it felt like by discussing all of our issues and why she did what she did in the first place, blah, 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 it didn't end on a good note, and here I am now. This whole thing went from bad to worse when she willingly gave the phone up to him, but then as soon as he went away to do what he was going to do, I guess to try and recover the images and texts in the phone's directory, she buckled under the pressure and immediately demanded to get it back. So it was already tampered with because she went and deleted all of the messages, but then who knows what she did at that point. Maybe she went even further to try and get rid of another layer of evidence. It's hard to believe anyone here because obviously the two of them, meaning the wife and her affair partner, the married guy, both had time to get their stories together to write each other in the way that the OP didn't have access to, which was the Snapchat. But man, this is a brutal story. The OP, you can tell, it just really does not want to believe this is true, but everything obviously points in this way. I mean, the husband, the one that's already married, is basically saying that they never did anything ever, that it just happened to be in this text that he just happened to see, and he doesn't even remember writing it. He doesn't remember his state of mind because he was sloshed. That all seems a little bit too specifically coincidental. So anyway, if you were in an awful situation like this, and I hope you never are, let me know what you would do down below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on and follow the podcast linked down below. Thanks a lot for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.